Everybody's mic's turned on and we're ready to go. Welcome everybody. Yep, she's on.
Yeah, somebody's working.
Yeah, okay. We need to approve the agenda as presented. Bruce, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we do have one addition. Mr. Powell wants to come in at 11:45, I believe is the time. So if we want to come in, we'll need to approve that unanimously. We'll need a motion.
I'll make that motion, Bob, that we add it to the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. So, council meeting minutes, February 21st, 2023. Any errors or omissions?
I'll move it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay, we have some delegations. We have Mr. Eisman come in to go the financial statements at 9:30. We have Sarah Hissett wants to come in about an attraction and retention committee that she wants to get going. There's some MD involvement in it. And then we have 10:45, we have James McDonald from Northern Light System. I believe he's coming in on Zoom, is that correct? Okay. And then Mr. Powell at 11:45. So, Ed Fieldman report. Does somebody want to?
Is that how we spell library? Has it been updated now?
Oh, yeah. We get two. And that's the step program.
Jamie. How are you doing today? Good. Good. Okay, you have James' report in front of you.
Just like to add for Shelby there, she had her equine meeting on March 18th, and there's 86 attendees,
Wow.
and the total attendance for the 5 workshops that she put on was 322.
She's doing a good job.
Okay. I'll get into your folks' report, Jamie. Anybody have any questions or comments on it?
How do we make out on the hiring seasonal staff?
We've made an offer. We're waiting for a response.
What's that?
Seasonal staff.
So is that a sprayer?
No, it isn't.
Okay, anything else anybody has? I get a motion to approve James' report.
I will.
Okay, thanks, Richard. All in favor? Opposed of any? Okay, ASB minutes. Anything in there that needs discussing or just information?
It's mostly information. It's, they talked a little bit about some expanding the bursary, but that'll be coming up for discussion at the planning meeting.
Okay.
So James, I have one question on that, or just the cattle scale. We talked about disposing of it. So is that started yet, or where are you at with that process?
I'm in progress. I had an inquiry from a 4-H club, and I'm waiting to hear back from them before I proceed.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anything else anybody has? Not? I think covers it off, James.
I called already.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Okay, thanks,
Not a
James.
problem.
Okay, Directors of Public Works and Safety. Hello, Zach, how are you doing today? Good, thank you.
Can you bring spring with you?
I'm trying real hard. I'm wearing my golf shoe.
Yeah, I noticed that's what's open.
It's gonna snow now.
I know. Definitely waiting.
No kidding.
But you do virtual at least.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Preston, Raymond, how you fine gentlemen today?
Very good.
Good. Ed?
It's good to see you all today.
Okay, we have Preston's report in front of you. Anybody have any questions or comments on it?
They done at Pierce yet?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah, crush is finished. They'll be pulling their equipment into town, doing some work on it, so on and so forth before they proceed to the next job. In the hall, they kind of said probably a 5-6 week turnaround, kind of more after they'll be back at it. That's the plan.
And they got the crush for this year, am I correct?
Yep.
2-year.
That's correct, yeah.
So then where are you gonna start now?
I believe we were going to actually set up a schedule, but just in talk, we were going to go out towards the east and do the sandier side, just because the spring can be a little bit wetter, and it's a little easier to get through that. And then as summer comes in, we'll hit more of the clay stuff and then work our way through that.
So what pits are you doing this year?
We have Hager, McLean, Sullivan, the Larson Stesic pit as a makeup from last year because we didn't get in there. Pierce pit's done, and I don't think we have anything south of Edgerton.
What about that Kuzak pit?
Yes, that's the other one.
That's the other one?
Yeah.
You're doing that, are you?
Yeah.
What's left there? I thought we were done.
Well, we had to move the pile pretty well, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
the last of it is.
Yeah, this should be our last crush out of there. We're hoping to get a full crush, but we're not sure if we'll make the numbers.
So what kind of gravel's it?
That's a clay product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we doing one more crush on the other side of down at
Hager?
Hager's there?
Yeah.
Or is that the side we're gonna clean up so that we can clean it up for the government?
It'd be on the kind of the south side of where, and north side of that fence line, south side of the pit. Does that make sense?
Yes,
along that east
we have
line.
a strip there on that north side, so we can finish cleaning it up, so we can either write it off or they'll give us more when we do.
Okay, I'm not sure if I fully understand, but we can
On the
definitely
north side of the
look at
pit.
a map and make sure we're both understanding what we're talking about.
Yeah, there is one more crush on that north side, so I just.
North side of the fence?
Yeah.
I think that's where our pit boundary is.
Our pit boundary.
That's why that
goes-
fence is there, that's our pit boundary.
No,
Okay.
that's our pit boundary, but we have another pit on the other side, on the north side of that we've had for years. We've done a couple crush, there's one more crush there.
Okay, like I said, we'll have to look at some documentation, because I'm not familiar with another pit north of that
As
fence.
we were supposed to clean
Or
that
south of
up for the
fence.
government, and we haven't done that yet.
Okay. Unless I'm misunderstanding direction here, but we'll figure it out, that's not a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
We'll look at it.
Okay, anything else under?
How do you feel about
okay.
the progress of the lagoon and green shields?
Sounds like they have their desludging contractor lined up. They got their wastewater management plan. It's just a matter of this short discussion just in regards to the borrows and just going over that. But it sounds like they're moving forward. They said they had their desludging contractor secured, I guess is the word you used, or something like that. So with that in mind, it sounds like we're moving forward. So that's a good part. So I mean, at the end of the day, once they show up, that's when we'll know for sure.
So are the cattails gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, they came in and grubbed out all along the bank where the inflow is. They didn't spend much time there because it is thin ice there, so they were pretty worried. And if you're going to work on ice, you have to have a code of practice with a management plan. And it can be a big deal sometimes. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And that scraper that you sent to Edmonton there for the differential housing,
Yeah,
is that a problem then? Are they gonna look at the second unit going up there, or?
they will. It's got the same service letter, so they'll look at that. I think on this one might have been an isolated problem where maybe something moved a bit where it wore on the inside of that dip covering. I'm not 100% sure, but they did manage to get the parts and turn it on. It was fairly quick. So that machine's back and the other one's up there now. So
So
it went.
two more to go.
No, because the other two were done last year.
Oh, I see.
They do have a couple open service letters, but not this lengthy of work, I guess, because these two letters are like 48 hours each letter, or excuse me, Yeah, 48 hours, yeah. So just over a week.
So how's my new grader working?
It had an issue with the six-wheel drive, something to do with some fluid transfer. It was one of the O-rings in the hub was, I think it was either cut or crushed, and it transferred fluid between the hydraulics into the hub, and it overheated. It's back up and running. We're
Okay.
actually test driving it this morning, so
Okay, good.
yeah, short turnaround on that, not too bad.
Good.
We also, on our trade-in grader, we kept one back as a unit until that one was fixed and up and running. So that unit will go back or go up to the city as soon as we know this one turns out good.
Okay, good to know. Anybody else have any questions or comments for Preston? Can I get a motion to approve this report, please?
Yeah.
Thanks, Bruce. All in
I
favor?
have something good to add.
Yeah.
We did get our registration for the Larson Stesic pit.
Oh, good.
So that came in early this week, I think yesterday, or Tuesday, not yesterday. So that's good, so we can get our plan together and start stripping and
Yeah.
have it ready for crush this year. And that's what held us up last year. We didn't have our registration, so we didn't want to
Yeah.
go in there with the chance of going over the acreage that you must maintain, or hectares,
we-
depending how you look at it.
We know what happens when that.
Yeah, they get a little, you know.
We
just-
found out the hard way.
Yeah.
We
So-
don't have to do that again.
That's the one that's just north of White Kinsella.
Oh,
Or Kinsella,
Kinsella.
sorry, yeah, Kinsella. So that's a
Okay.
good thing. So we'll have that kind of set up in our plan to strip, and ideas of how we're gonna do is already set up, so just a
Okay.
matter of getting it going.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, anything else? Okay, we'll scroll down. Did there anything, have any questions on the rest of this report? Okay, if not, we'll go to Director of Safety. How are
We
you
haven't
doing?
approved this one.
Yeah, we need to,
We have voted on it.
yea or nay.
Oh, I didn't call a question, all in favor?
There.
Oh, I thought I did that.
I must have interrupted, sorry.
That's all right, we'll get it straightened out.
No, life will go on.
Director of Safety,
Good morning.
how are you this morning?
Really good, thank you. Yeah, just a quick refresh of the report here. Just working on updating and getting everything inspected before the season starts up here. Took all of our fire extinguishers, got looked at, did their annual inspections. Went around to all the first aid kits, updated the new requirements that are due put in place by the end of the month. Additional items that they're asking for in first aid kits, that was the only thing that really pertained to us regarding that. And then just taking in a couple of webinars on some other upcoming changes. For Parks and Rec, we did order a new AC replacement. One of our ACs did go down last year at the Riverdale Mini Park, so we do have another replacement en route, so it can be installed prior to the season starting. Yeah, and everything else is no changes to the report there.
How's the satellite at Riverdale?
So we're actually waiting for some more snow to be removed from, or to thaw out or melt out in front of the clubhouse, so we can access a piece of equipment. We can get up there a little closer, so we're not climbing off the ladders and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we'll definitely have it ready before the season starts.
Good, okay.
How's them small fire extinguishers working, or did you ever get any?
We actually went away from that. So what we found out is, well, for one, they stopped selling them. I guess we wouldn't. It wouldn't have been good for us in the long run.
At least we avoided that.
Yeah.
So who inspects those extinguishers, Ray?
Well, there is a few outfits in town. Previously, we've been going through Daveco. Unfortunately, their fire extinguisher technician has moved on to Daveco. They don't have someone currently in place. They are working on getting somebody, I believe. So in the meantime, we went to First Step Fire Safety, located just across from UFA there. I believe they run out through our mower contractors that we have. I believe it's just a branch off from them.
UFA in Wainwright?
Yeah, right here in town. Yeah. Actually, we got word that the town took all of theirs to them too, just because of the last minute changes with the previous contractors that we were getting to inspect them.
Okay, anything else? Anybody have any other questions or comments? Okay, motion to approve Ray's report, please.
Yep.
Thanks, Oscar. All in favor? Motion carried. Okay, safety. Calcium. Go through.
All right, so to be compliant with our pricing on calcium, we went out for RFP, and we did receive back pricing from two vendors. One is Renner Calcium, out of that Camrose area, and the other one's Tiger Calcium, which is kind of southeast Edmonton area. As you can see, the prices are presented as per liter and spread.
Okay. Need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, we hire Renner Kelson.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, line painting contract?
Okay, went out for RFP for line painting, 148 kilometers, which is approximately about that half that asphalt surface. Seems like every second year is about the right time to paint these lines. We did receive pricing back from 4 different contractors. As you can look at the unofficial results there. I did follow up. RAN Maintenance is a new contractor to me. I did do the reference checks with other MDs and counties, and it came with a high recommendation. So
Okay,
So this is
motion,
first time for them.
it'd be the first time for them, for us, yes.
okay, motion to approve is presented.
I'll make that.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay, road oil contract?
Okay, went out for RFP for road oil. We're looking for approximately 475 metric tons. That's an estimate on pricing, volume. And we did receive pricing from 2 companies. Asphalt out of that Calgary area, and then Synovus out of the Lloydminster area.
Okay.
I'll make the motion, we hire Synovus.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, fencing contract.
So this is, we completed our second year of fencing contract in 2022, so 2023 presents a new year for an RFP. We went out for pricing for another 2-year contract, or the option for the second-year contract, I guess, is the way it would look. And based on pricing and score, Super Clean would be the preferred contractor in this situation based on per mile.
Yeah.
Some of the prices you can see on the braces may be a little cheaper, a little bit expensive, but if you broke it out per mile based on braces, gates, tie-in, so on and so forth, same with the temporary fence and then the miscellaneous, Super Clean does come up on top and they scored
Okay.
points.
Motion?
I'll make that motion. To go with
Thanks,
Super
Oscar.
Clean.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Pardon? For 2 years.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, okay, we have the list there for your contract equipment.
So I think I believe in 2022, we went forward with putting, or adding 5 contractors per discipline on the list. And this year, we received no more than 5 contractors, so all the contractors made the list
Okay.
that were submitted.
So we just need a motion to approve it as a priority.
Yeah, and I believe that's correct, right, Neil? Okay.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
okay, thanks, Robin. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried.
So in the
Okay.
February meeting, I presented the option to do some culvert settlements, 14 of them. I did have an estimated price, it was $13,000. I did go back, talk to Central City, give them the locations, showed them the areas, had a small description of how to fix the culverts with them. He came back with a firm price of $13,150 per culvert
Okay.
settlement.
So that's mileage, everything included.
That is mileage and everything's good, that's to fix them all. Yeah,
Okay.
the 14, not all of them,
That's
sorry.
good.
Okay, yeah, I think so. So I need a motion to approve it if
I
you
can
so
do
wish.
that.
Thanks, Bruce. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, your hard surfacing map. This is what was presented. We just need to,
This is the map that I reviewed with each one.
Yeah.
So
okay.
this is the proposed map. Based on this map, we can then continue with our RFPs. If there's changes made, then I'll just do addendums to them to change that up. So
Okay, what do you guys think? Let's need a motion.
Yep, I can make that move.
Okay, thanks, Oscar. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried.
See, you cut my project off, but that's all right.
I had to make room for other jobs.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, gentlemen. Just jump right into finance, I guess.
I think that's a lot of work you guys did on these.
Yeah.
Good work.
You could buy dinner for doing it, I guess.
Well, thanks, in all honesty, thanks to the admin assistant staff here. They really helped me out a lot with all these RFPs, so shout out to them.
Good team, good
See you
team.
later.
Okay, accounts. Accounts were done last week. Anybody have any questions or comments on the accounts? Not, could I get a motion to approve them?
I will.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, unanimous?
No.
Carried. Okay, financial statements are there for your approval. Just need to, somebody move it as presented by administration.
I can do that.
Okay, thanks, Robin. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, you have your reserves, your information, and approval. Oh, can't do that yet, can we? Are we ready for Don? Can we bring him in? No, sure. Are you guys okay? Bring Don in?
Be good.
I'll be back.
Sit down.
Where you go?
Sit down. We needed to know this.
There's all over yourself.
I noticed today. Where's your computer? Better. Huh?
Heavy.
Gonna have to hire an assistant.
I got it on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like I'm probably surfing my phone, but I'm not.
For you.
I don't.
Halfway through the first one.
Good. Good, you? Good.
So how's Don doing? Have a chair, Don. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, how are you?
You tried. I did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're just getting started.
Thanks.
It's kind of dry stuff for a start.
What's that?
I said it's kind of dry stuff for a start.
Oh, we're almost halfway through. We're moving right along this morning. So we've got a bit of stuff ahead of us, so we'll. But anyways, thanks for coming in and meeting with us and going through our statement. We appreciate that all the work you do on our behalf, and all that. We've turned it over to you. Everybody knows everybody, so
Okay.
turn it over to you, and you can lead us through.
All right. Just to start off, I will just make a note that we plan to issue an unqualified audit report, which is good,
Yeah.
assuming that you approve the statements today.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to go through, as I usually have done, and pick highlights as
Yep.
kind of what I see them. They're an overall highlight, and I kind of chose variances between the 2 years of about 300 grand. Anything above that, I kind of tried to hit on, just so you know where
Yep.
I'm coming from. So I'm going to start on page 4, which is the consolidated statement of financial position. And first off, cash and temporary investments, you'll notice are down about 29.5 million for the year. A lot of that is because if you look down 4 lines, you'll see that investments, of course, are up 37.5 million. So there was cash pushed in there, plus cash from operations during the year. And then if you go back up, taxes and grants in lieu, we're down about $378,000 for the year. And this is pretty much a result of better collections in 2022 by the end of December versus 2021. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities are down about $413,000 for the year. Up $413,000. And that's pretty much gravel royalties and police funding, and there's some increase in holdbacks there as well. And then down under non-financial assets, we see tangible capital assets. They have a net decrease of $7.51 million. And that net decrease consists of additions of about $9.57 million, amortization of $16.63 million, and proceeds and loss on disposals of about $0.45 million to get us to that 7.51. Inventory for consumption is up about $520,000 for the year. That's largely because the gravel stockpiles are up about $384,000 for the year. The rest of it consists of tires, culvert, grounders, blades, whatever, make up the remainder. And the details are actually in note 10, and so you can see what exactly has varied between the 2 years. Flipping the page over to the statement of operations. Net municipal taxes are up about $839,000 for the year. This is largely comes about as an increase in linear property tax of about $550,000, and then there was a decrease in the amount paid out to the Alberta School Fund of about $356,000, which makes up most of those differences. And again, if you want details, they're on Schedule 3. Government transfers for operating were down about $706,000 for the year. That is mostly a result of, I shouldn't have used that word, it's a result of the MOST grant. And
Yeah,
that's why I shouldn't have used the word.
well chosen word.
Yeah. And the Canadian Community Building Fund. So between those two, that makes up most of the difference. Investment income is up about $751,000 for the year, and obviously during the year rates rose significantly on the money that you're invested, plus you also have more money invested than you did the prior year. Going down, transportation services are up about $2 million for the year. A lot of that comes from cost increases in shipping. Fuel and oil prices obviously were significantly higher, about $644,000, and cement on roads was about $750,000 of that. And down under other, we have cost recovery on roads, and obviously that varies each year just depending on the projects that you have going on, and I think a lot of that change came about because of the Gilt Edge Road. The same can be said about government transfers for capital, the next line down, which is down about $2.47 million. And a lot of that is 2021 MSI was used for the Gilt Edge Road, so that's was last year and not this year. And then just a couple of minor notes. On page 20 at the bottom, or note 14, just restricted surplus, and I just will commend you on increasing your reserves roughly by $7 million during the year. That's a significant increase, so I think you're doing well. And then the next page over, I know you don't borrow money here, but it just this note just indicates what you can borrow and what you could, and the second number, the small number, the $7 million number, is what you could use to service debt if you borrowed money. So just as a note that because those are wide open, I think it is an indication of how well the MD actually is off financially. And then just as a general information thing on note 16. The very last line, you'll see that there's an actuarial surplus at the end of 2021 of 11.9 billion for the LAP pension fund. And that's a significant number for me because probably it's been within 5 years. There was about a 5-point-some billion dollar deficit. So this is a significant flip on that, and it's just nice to know that your employees are, the pension safe.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I imagine that we'll see a decrease once they do the actuarial for 2022 because it's been a rough year, but. And that's pretty much all I have to point out,
Okay,
go through.
perfect. Well, does anybody have any questions for Don? Well, I hope it doesn't start till after 2026. Just saying.
So Don, that money that we can borrow is $42 million in 2022? Is that?
Yes.
And in 2021, it was 40, so it's up $2 million?
Yeah.
Yes.
Based on,
It is a calculation that municipal affairs
comes up with
comes
that
up with,
figure.
and we just crunch the numbers. It's got to do with revenues and it takes into account like certain types of receivables are excluded and certain types of payables are also excluded. I don't, to my knowledge, at least since I've been around, I don't think there's ever been any money borrowed unless it was an operating line.
No, when I started, we had $1 million in reserve. And that's all we had. But we borrowed against if we needed money, we borrowed against that million, and then we put it back in. As soon as the taxes came in, we put it back in that. So we've never, I can't remember getting borrowing any money from the bank ever since I've been here. But I know when we started, we only had $1 million in reserve, and now we're a bit higher than that.
So that 50 million is a significant number.
Well, that's 27 years of a lot of good work by a lot of good councils and administration, and a really good working relationship with the oil and gas industry. They pay a big portion of our taxes, but they've been excellent partners over the years, and they continue to do so. So that has put us in that position. But it's been good management on staff and council to take advantage of building when costs were low and saving when costs were high. So
It's always good practice.
and it is. I mean, but no, it goes to a lot of good people that sit around this table to make sure that the MD is in good financial position. So, okay.
So, well, I just
Yep.
got a couple more questions. You got Vision, our account with Vision Credit Union, you got 22, is that $22? Did we get a payout? Did we get paid out of our shares there? I mean, a lot of people do. Why we got $22? Why is it 22?
No, so that's just the share account that's sitting there. We don't have any investments currently at Vision.
Oh,
So it's just the little bit that was accumulated, common share account, yeah.
Anything else, Bill?
well, I'm just going over the notes here, but no, it looks, yeah, it's all right with me.
Sounds good.
Okay, anything else anybody has? Anything? Okay, well, thanks, Don. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, we can get back to the agenda, and can we approve the financial statement now? That's administrative. Okay, we go back to finance. Approval of the 2022 audited financial statements. We need a motion to approve it.
Billy.
Bill, thank you very much. Any further discussions? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Flip at the page. Okay, no, we'll get through this first. Monthly administration report. Any questions or comments on it? Just review of where we're at. Okay, go to the front end. renovation. Mr. Administrator, you want to lead us through, please?
I will. Okay, so we had done a RFD, went public for some competitive prices back in the fall, but didn't get anything because I think their contractors were busy and had other priorities at that time. Catch up after COVID, I think, is what was happening. So we put it out again here fairly recently, just after Christmas, and we got 2 prices. As council can see, we've got one price from Olson for $99,000 and change, and then Black Pearl Homes for $148,800. So you can see the note there. Discussion should include the missing addendum number 1, electrical. So there's some electrical involved with the ramp as well. It's concrete and the forming of it, but also to become compliant with regulations as far as these ramps, you have to have automatic door openers. So this was not included. So we went and priced it out separately from a separate contractor who specializes in that, and we got an estimate back for $15,424. So if council does consider this project for a ramp, a wheelchair ramp in the front, you'd have to take the price of choice here and add the electrical.
So where does it say that, Kelly, there? I can't believe this. I mean, we've had no ramp there for years and no door opener. And all of a sudden, since you put a ramp in, you're going to have a door opener?
Well, this is what...
Where's it saying that?
This is what our engineers... We used engineers from the city UCG, and this is what they designed for the ramp to be compliant. That's where I'm getting the information from.
So is it building codes?
It would be building codes that they got it from.
That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see it in the building code, because we have a person at the front desk. I'm pretty sure if we see somebody coming in a wheelchair, we can open the door for them. I find lots of stuff they add on that you don't really need.
I think it's to be compliant because you'd be grandfathered in because you weren't up.
Yeah, no, I get that part of it, Robin, but I want to know, because you put a wheelchair ramp in, we need an automatic door opener?
Yep.
Where do you read that in the building code?
It's there. It's on outside egress.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
It just seems strange.
I would assume, I honestly haven't checked the code myself, just went on but with the engineers that provided for us. I would, a situation where, say, we had a staff member who's in a wheelchair and getting access, right, where there's nobody else in the building, they would probably need that function. I'm just thinking of an example.
Yeah. You'll find it in with the stadiums and open air courts and stuff. The outside egress is in there.
So we got to change the whole door up.
Yeah.
You'd have to blow that wide open. You can't get in there with a wheelchair.
Well, I think the thing is, you have to make the whole ramp bigger, like you'll have to come up in an L shape to make it safe, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd have the front step or the first step.
Yeah,
be
gotta
made
be a lot wider.
Be longer so that they can get in and push the button and go through the door. That's probably the cost, like it's
I just understood $15,000 for electrical.
That's just for the electrical, but it's
Yeah, that was for the
$99,000.
door and the opener, like the existing structure for the door would be used. They can utilize what we have right now, and the opener would be applied. It's a box, it's a wireless functioning thing that would work with the button outside and inside the door as well to open when they're exiting. And it would just be a compartment on top of the door, existing door.
So we got to open both doors. How's that affect our security?
It's just the front
Anybody
door.
can get in at night?
Just the exiting door. But it would be a lock. It'd be locked like no different than it is right now. We've got the security
Okay.
system.
What do you guys want to do?
Why have you got, what's this UCG there? Is that the engineering company?
Yeah, that's our consultant.
What do they recommend in here? What's this, more experience, or what is that? I don't get any of that.
Oh, well, it
Shorter
recommends...
timeline, is that what they're telling Olson? They want Olson to have more experience?
They went over they scored the bids, the price of the proposals, so I'm thinking that's what they got out of Olson Construction, is that there's more experience based on what they provided.
Okay.
Shorter timeline to get the project done, and of course, the lower bid price.
Yeah, okay.
And you should discuss the amendment too, or the addendum, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll make a
I didn't
motion
see
to
the scoring
accept
system,
Olson
so-
contract with the $15,000.
For the door. So you're moving to go ahead with it plus the door,
Plus the electrical.
plus the electrical. So it'll be like about $115,000, somewhere in there, close, 115,
Is there any grants out there for that?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, if any, it's carried. Thank you. Okay, Battle River Lodge, requisition, so, 353,000. Can you want to move it to the budget file so you can pay them out?
Yeah, I'll move that to the budget file.
Okay, thanks, Oscar. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Okay, contacts, bulletins are all there for information. I guess you guys want to stop for a coffee break? Actually, kind of, well, I guess, yeah. Do you guys want to stop for coffee break now?
Yeah.
What time is it?
9:40.
Oh, yeah, we better.
9:50, 9:40. Well, we got about 10 minutes. Well, a little left in the agenda, but.
What is the benefit?
So-
Order, you got us on live there, Stephen. Okay, well, I'd like to welcome Sarah Hissett to our meeting. She wants to talk a little bit about a new committee that she's interested in starting up. Maybe it's already up and running a bit, I'm not exactly sure, but just before we do that, maybe we'll just go around the table with introduction, Sarah, so you know who's in the room. I'll start with you, Bruce.
Hi, I'm Bruce Cup.
Austin Buck.
Hi, Bob Barth.
Kelly Baczynski, Municipal Administrator. Mike Wildebohr.
Bill.
And we have Neil.
Zach in the corner,
Zach.
right block.
Then we have Tyson. And Steve. So anyways, I'll turn it over to you and you can tell us what you're thinking.
Awesome. So I am, as introduced, Sarah Hissett, and I'm here today as the interim chairperson of this new committee. But I'm also a ratepayer and someone who is, again, in my 5.5 years of living here without a family doctor. So this new committee, the purpose of it is to kind of work alongside with what is already being done in the community through the recruitment of physicians, as well as what is done through economic development, and what Carly's doing with the items like the Rural RN program and the skills days that she holds. We are at a unique time in the community in that we are getting new physicians this year, as well as the 4 nurses that are starting in the fall that have been approved. And this committee, the purpose of it is to give the community an opportunity to be involved in keeping our healthcare close to home, because I think that's everyone's goal at the end of the day, is the more we can keep in our community, the more vibrant it is and the happier people are. So I believe the copy of my letter did get distributed kind of as an overview of the plan of where we plan to take this committee and our ask. So we're looking for a $2,000 investment in a startup, and that will help cover some of our costs. And our intent is not to come back every year on an annual basis for that $2,000. We'll rely on grant money, but also review every year. The $2,000 up front, we're hoping to get this RPAP rural, Let's Go Rural event. RPAP will cover the expenses related to bringing healthcare students out. They cover transportation, meals, and the accommodations, but the community is responsible for all additional costs. So we're looking to bring up to 40 varied healthcare students from Edmonton to experience Stampede. Yeah.
Okay, question I have. We met with RPAP.
Yes.
Okay, is this committee going to run under their rules?
They don't necessarily have rules. They are a guide in place to help support the committees in the various areas.
But would it be like when we sat there, they said, and I don't know, I thought it was a part of belonging to RPAP, that we had to have municipal representation on the committee if we were going to be part of RPAP.
Nope, so RPAP, there's no actual membership. They are just an independent, they're funded by government. And they, like I said, they offer guidance on how to run a committee, but every committee is run internally as they see fit for what fits the community.
So we don't need to put a counselor on this committee?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. But, so on this committee will report to the physicians recruitment committee? Or how do you see that connection between the two?
Between the two, it works hand in hand in the fact that they're still going to be doing exactly what they're doing now and getting the physicians here to Wainwright, and then they're kind of handed off in the sense that the committee would then bring them into our fold, and one of our initiatives is like the buddy program, so getting them out into the community, not just giving them a path to the PMM, but actually like taking them and their families.
So it'll be a separate, kind of a separate resource, like we have like the physicians community, we'll do our job, and you guys will do your job, but if we get a doctor, they may be shifted over to your group to try to get them more involved or more,
Yeah,
is
it's
that
like,
kind of?
it's the handoff
Yeah,
essentially
but
once
so
a
that's,
year.
it's gonna cover more than just nurses, and it's anybody that
It's
comes in
yeah.
the professional medical side that you'd entertain helping them get more established within the community, is that
Definitely,
correct?
all healthcare staff from EMS, all the way up to doctors at the top.
Okay, okay. Okay,
And nurse practitioners are, if they get here, it's not something that we would work on recruiting or working on, because that's a community. If a nurse practitioner started here and came from outside, they would be brought into the fold to incorporate them into the community, essentially. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's not money that's going to keep a practitioner here. It's the community that they're going to fall in love with, and that's the people. So that's why we have it being a community-led.
so you're asking for 2,000 from us, 2,000 from the town, and 2,000 from the foundation?
Yeah, and then there's additional funding that we will apply for from RPAP, that they do a $1,000 grant a year as well.
Okay, yeah, I knew that there was money from RPAP
Yeah.
that would help you move things along.
Yeah.
Okay, questions, other than myself? Anybody else?
I just wondered if you thought it was, if the idea there that not having an elected official there, to help you, wouldn't be that bad of an idea. I mean, for instance, I know you're probably aware of, but an elected official, I mean, they're aware of grants that you can get. I mean, you know, there's a $90 million program out there just put out by the provincial government for retention and attraction of doctors.
Yeah, and that...
And how you would access that without a person.
And the intent right now, we do have approval from the Health Foundation to host our money within their umbrella as a separate line within their financials, because we believe that having that charitable number backing is going to be influential when we do apply for various grants. Because in my experience applying for grants, that's a big, they want to know, is there an actual charitable number associated with it, so we can utilize that. And all that information essentially is public. RPAP distributes that. Carly has forwarded me the information on that grant and for the government. And at this point, they don't even know how they're going to distribute that $90 million, if it's going to be community driven or if that's just more money that they're going to throw at AHS to do what they need to do. So.
What was that, Oscar? I didn't hear you. Could you speak up to the mic, please?
Sure, sorry, Bill. Robin's already on that board, isn't she not?
So Robin is involved as a community member,
Not as
not as an MD representative.
So what about, at one time we talked about administrative support. Are you looking for, because we know that the town's administration is pretty well booked up on this. So are you looking for any administrative support from us? Because we had said that we could supply some if it's needed.
Yeah, at this point, we don't need it. My job is actually as a project coordinator, so all I do is admin all day.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is a covered base
Okay.
within the committee.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I guess I just got a different question. So you're going to go under the umbrella of the Health Foundation, by the sounds of it, for funding?
Just to hold the money so that it's in a transparent place.
Okay, so but you will use them as kind of leverage to apply for grants so that under their umbrella, correct?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the connection's there with you as chair
Yeah.
anyways. So. I
Yeah.
mean, if we had to put somebody on, I was going to recommend you because your ties to the foundation and the chair of the physicians. But if that there is already, I guess it's probably.
I get the feeling they want to run alone.
I'm getting.
It's community based.
It is community-based, and the intent is that we are all volunteers on here, so having one member's time compensated for being involved where the rest of us wouldn't be
Okay.
is...
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Bill. I can see where this is. they'd want to
Yeah.
do it strictly from the community, and I applaud you guys for that. I think it's a,
No, I think it's
I think it's a good opportunity, and I'm
Yeah.
certainly not opposed to the funding to get you up and running, get you started, because I think that we all know the shortage of, we know the shortage of doctors, but we've also just come from a conference where they've got doctors, but they had to shut the operating facilities down because they don't have nurses to assist them.
100%, right?
So-
And our intent is to, we may not be involved necessarily recruitment, but that retention, right? The more we can retain the employees that we currently have, the further ahead we're going to be, right? And that includes, recognizing everyone down to environmental services, right? It's not a glamorous position, but if you don't have someone there to sterilize and clean up after in the OR, it's not going to run either. So.
Yeah.
We've had members of the lab state that it's a hard nut to crack, and so if the community can support, it's everybody.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. Okay, anybody have any more questions, comments? Okay, Sarah, thanks for coming in. We will have a chat about it a little later on, and somebody will get back to you with our decision. But thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yep, okay. Okay. Okay, well, we'll go back to the agenda. Okay, funding for a bed for the, at the health center. We had the presentation last month, and we were short a counselor, so we didn't make a decision, but I see it's added back to the agenda, so whoever added it back can open up the discussion.
I actually added it back on. I felt last time we weren't all here, we're all here this time, so.
Okay.
Just looking for a motion to purchase 2 beds without the concession of the tables, just strictly a donation for 2 beds. So we're looking for a motion. If nobody wants to make it, I can.
I'll make a motion that we support this.
So it says your grant funding for their project.
Grant our funding, I think, not a grant.
So your motion, Oscar, is for 2 beds?
Pardon?
Your motion is for 2 beds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Robin's motion.
Robin? Robin, you move for 2 beds?
Please, yeah.
I'll speak to that a little bit
Yeah.
beforehand, and I know I said I wasn't going to speak anymore, but I'll just add a little bit more in, and I know the concern here is that you're using taxpayer dollars to support the purchase of these beds, and so then I took it upon myself. I phoned ratepayers, several ratepayers that contact me on a regular basis to get their opinion. 10 in total. I never had one ratepayer say no. I had a lot of interesting comments, actually. So everybody that I talked to was in favor of it. But at the same time, I can tell you whatever. I mean, you vote whatever you want to vote. There's no pressure from me.
My
Certainly.
frustration was that we were using money to make AHS look better, but I think that it was also brought up that if we don't do it, it's not going to get done. So you're between a rock and a hard place, and I think we need to support having beds for the people that are in there, especially being that they're as old as they are, and it's a good, I agree with it.
Thank you.
Mike, you weren't here for the discussion. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'd echo the sentiments that Robin has. I think this committee is doing a good thing, and I think they need support, and that's what we're here for.
Okay. Anybody else? Richard?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Okay. And call a question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, nursing
Hopefully
recruitment.
this will get the ball rolling.
So what do you guys think about this?
What's that?
I said the nursing attraction.
I think if Robin's going to sit on it, we should make a motion that she gets reimbursed for her time.
They don't.
She is a counselor.
They don't want
No,
that.
they don't want that.
That's what they don't want. They
No.
don't want people, I heard her. She said,
It's a volunteer
it's
position.
a volunteer position. We don't want one person on there that's paid.
And with no influence from the
From
MD,
council.
the
I mean,
MD
you're
or
not,
council, yeah.
that's right. So,
Different identity.
I don't mind that at all. I think it's a great program for,
I'll make a motion, we give them the $2,000.
Okay.
thanks.
Well, can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
My only comment would be is, do we want two organizations that are working under the same umbrella coming for different things?
It's
Or do we
different,
want?
different umbrellas though.
No, I'm aware of that, Bruce.
You know,
I'm
we
just
have
saying
the
if,
doctor recruitment, you know, which is funded a lot more, and now we have nursing and that. That's
Yeah.
why I asked her about nurse practitioners too.
yeah, and I'm not disagreeing
Seemed a
with this at
little
all.
hesitant.
I'm in favor of it. I'm just wondering if we want one entity to come to us, or do we want?
Well, if their priority is nursing, I'd like to see the nursing take some of it too, right? So,
Okay,
I think.
that's fine, just a comment.
Just to answer your question, we had that discussion when we met with RPAP and Sarah and the mayor, and Billy and I met, and we brought that up, that maybe it'd be better if it was funneled under doctor recruitment. But there was a really strong push for a volunteer community, and you sort of say, we're not going to be too heavy on retention, or on recruitment, really heavy on retention. Is once we get them here, how do we keep them here? So I think the retention is probably more of their focus. The recruitment will be part of it, how to work with, well, they work with through the foundation, because the foundation kind of works on the recruitment side, even for the doctor recruitment committee. It's the foundation and Carly and Bill that kind of, and the hospital that kind of put this stuff all together, right?
Yeah.
So, they're doing a bit of different things, but, I mean, they will report to the doctor recruitment committee. We will get a report from them, so we kind of thought the same thing, that maybe there's an overlap, maybe, but, you know, we didn't want to damper the excitement and the passion to get up and get this thing going, so.
There might have been more of an overlap, Mike, I think, if one of us were on the board. I mean, because we are on the doctor recruitment committee, so, I mean, not just because Robin's doing there as a volunteer, I think there's no overlap, it's community. I think that's the basic
Yeah.
thing they want, the
Yeah,
community
sure.
involvement to keep doctors and nurses here in this center, so. I don't see an overlap myself.
No, and I wouldn't say overlap's what I'm looking at. It's just, it would be, just to come to this table, if we have one entity, I guess is what I
Yeah.
was kind of questioning. But the way you guys explain it, I understand it. I love the passion. She's obviously passionate about it.
Yeah.
She's very passionate.
And I don't think that it'll be an annual ask, right? She said it's a one-time, get us off the ground so we can get
Yeah, and I would change
get
that in
those-
I would change that in the.
it's not an annual ask,
Yeah.
so I
The
don't know what.
$6,000 that they want to kind of get it up and start
I'm just
the
not sure
process.
what they'd be back for to the table. Hopefully they get the funding and then we just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, but we can get.
But
it
I
done.
hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I just hope that that's a one-time ask.
Yeah, well, that's what she said,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
because when we first talked about it, it was going to be annual, but
Okay.
it sounds like she's changed her direction a bit, so.
well, she may be able to source more money from.
Well,
different
RPAP is
sources.
going to be, I think RPAP's going to be the funder of this, right? Isn't that the
Yeah.
way you,
That's as much as they can.
as much as they can, yeah.
For the one big event, it's the ongoing things that they want you to provide
Some
fellowship
dollars.
and mentorship and things for people. Just line them up with the people in the community that they seek out for.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea, so. Anyways, do we have a mover?
Bruce said we.
Oh, we did.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed, carried. All righty, what time is our next one coming on? 10:45. Oh, we got time to do a little more things, a few more things. Okay, Development Officers Report. Can we get Kim in here?
Kelly, he's phoning. Oh, it's a lot easier. Save yourself, man. You've just had a medical.
We couldn't,
So,
Could
Bill,
take
did
the
you
offer.
hear anything about, like, they're doing the nurses, this will be their second year coming up, right? The ones who are training here, but they're going to leave a gap of a year before they
yeah,
start
but you
again? Or
orchestrated
does
it.
that fill in?
Don't even look.
Hasn't yet.
That one
Has it
did.
filled in?
No.
Well,
They
that's what
fix-
Danielle said. Should the guy be right?
I don't
there
care.
saying, why is this
I'm not in
happening?
favor, but I'd help.
Why can't we have another first-year group?
And you're right. You're exactly
What,
right.
what's that, Bruce?
Well, like these ones that they're trained now, like, wait a year before they start
Hmm?
on.
Yeah, no, that's not correct. They went through the first year program, they've been in the second
Yeah,
year
well,
program.
Rick here
The
can
third
give you
year,
direction on what you're
we
saying.
didn't have the applications. There's no applications there, so they've extended the deadline now to April 1st to try to get enough, to get 8 applicants. It might wait a year if we don't fill it, I don't know.
I see.
We'll see what happens after April
Okay.
1st.
I misunderstood.
Okay. Miss Kimberly,
Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
We have your report up in front of you. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I can't find
How are we making out with all those road construction projects there? Are you getting them all, are they done, or they half done, or?
Yeah, we're just in the process of getting some of the pipeline crossings signed up. So it's just kind of back and forth between myself and the admin people, just to get the agreements so that they are worded the way that is best for the MD.
Both parties?
Yeah.
So the wetland ones, we're going to be waiting a while for some of them, aren't we?
We've submitted them.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, we'll be paying the wetlands to environment as soon as they
Okay.
approve that. But we're ready to go on the ones that we're starting on.
Okay.
So, did you attend the meeting the other night, the wind project? the
I did.
windmills? Yeah?
Yep.
What was your take on it?
Yeah, they had a lot of good information there. There was a lot of people, there to answer questions. So, yeah, they had a lot of information and they were able to answer most of my questions too. So, didn't seem to be too.
No, it was good. It was well represented, and ABO did a good job of having lots of people there to, I didn't feel anybody left there without information that they were looking for or wanted. They had answers. They might not have liked them, but
Yep.
they did have answers, so.
So the next stage is what?
The next stage, I believe, goes to AUC for approval. So that could be up to 6 months, and depending on if it's
So construction won't start till next year, like?
next year at the earliest.
At the earliest, yeah.
At the
Yeah.
earliest?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Kim? We get a motion to approve the report.
Billy.
Bill, thank you very much. All in favor? Opposed, again? Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Okay,
See you later.
Robin, is this the guy from Northern Lights? Okay, since he's here,
Did James come in? Okay. That was
we'll bring him in. You guys are okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah. No sense holding
I
up
thought
this
the
date.
Premier's comments were very, very good. on the
In regards
windmills.
to the renewables?
Yes.
She didn't throw any
She
punches.
did an absolute excellent job.
I think overall, like even just talking, it feels rushed to people. You know, that the government's just pushing this through and not looking at the big
Good.
picture. That's kind of one of the themes of the comments I got.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We have James McDonald with Northern Light Systems, and maybe before we start,
Hi, I'm Bruce Collins. It's right there.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Richard's great. Oscar. Kelly.
Mike Wildebohr.
I'm Robin Layton, I'm your board member.
Yes,
That
hi,
you just
Robin.
see in a Zoom meeting with a
Yeah.
picture of my dog.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm Bill Lawson. I'm one of your ex-board members.
That's right. I remember your name. I've seen your
Oh,
name.
do you?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it on the paperwork, so that's always good.
It's in the post office too.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, apparently we were scheduled for 10:45, but your chairman is going to,
Oh, that's right.
so do you want to wait until your chairman gets online?
It might be, if you guys have something else to cover, I can double check that she's scheduled.
You want to talk about windmills for a bit, then? Yeah?
Let's not.
Change the subject?
I'll just see if she can come in early. Okay, go ahead. I'll turn this off.
Okay, we might as well, go to the page. I will. Committee report, with increasing plan, we had our meeting last month. We are working on getting the dragon underneath the so done. We are good to get our new scale, it's not delivered yet, but we're looking to see if they want to bring it up with the bill, pay for it. Coming out, doing a bit of maintenance on the plant. Our manager is being trained. He seems to be doing pretty good. Yeah, so he's busy. He's got, for the month of March, he's got 65,000 for the month of March.
I see you're looking for another person to help.
Yeah, they did, and I shouldn't say they've hired. They have, I don't know if they've hired it yet. Somebody has accepted the position, they're just waiting to sign the agreement. It's part-time, to help get through the spring, and then we'll see. The guy is, I can't remember his name, he's retired, I think he's a retired mechanic. Comes from the farm, and he's retired, he's in mechanically.
Mechanically inclined.
That's the word I'm looking for. I think he's a mechanic.
Okay.
But yeah, they needed two people, so they hired a person, worked 2 days and said, no, that's not the job I'm looking for, but this fellow is 50-55.
So the idea is you're not going to take that scale out?
Not till summer. We're not doing
Yeah,
anything,
then
and
you
we
put
just-
the new one in place.
We're doing nothing on the scale until probably July, once we
Yeah.
got, and.
But your old scale you'll get there, just leave it set there till July, and then pull
We'll
this-
be using it till July, yeah, until June or whatever. We just recovered it, so we had to get it recovered.
Oh, yeah.
So we did that, and it's actually two 40-foot scales.
Yeah.
So they're gonna either advertise it as 180 or 240s.
So then what about the removal process? Have you thought about that?
Yes, they are gonna bring in a crane, and they're gonna lift it out. When they put the new one in, they'll pull it over. So in fact, we're talking to one of the guys that removes scales. He said that really all you need to do is get pick it up on a bed truck or something. That's all big rails underneath, and you can pull it right onto a trailer.
So are you gonna put it up for bid, or?
Yeah. Well, we've had one interest in, we'll maybe go back to that person and see if they're still interested in it, and if they are, yeah, we'll have that discussion. But, there seems to be more interest in 40-foot scale than an 80-foot. I don't know. But anyways, that's our report, and that's where it's at. But we'll let the person know that that had expressed interest to begin with. My recommendation would be the first person to go through, see if they're still interested, and if they are, we'll try to work something out with them.
Maybe they can remove it.
Well, we'll have that discussion when that happens. Okay, Andrew.
February 22nd, we had a meeting, 11,000 bushels cleaned, and lots been booked for March. And Frank has taken a pesticide course to hopefully sell some gopher poison through the seed plant. And kept
Okay, anything else? Okay, FCS?
We had a meeting last Thursday, Sergeant Miller was there from the RCMP, gave us a little report. Well, he's getting a summer student, so we're going to try to work through the summer student, through some programming that we have. We met one employee,
Cassidy Grayton.
Green, and she gave us a report on her activities and things that she wants to upgrade. So other than that, Lane's doing a little work on the place, and Almond, the place looks good. A lot of it in a few days before.
Yeah.
Just planning for their 50th anniversary in
Oh,
June.
right, 50th.
Big party.
Free burgers, maybe.
Okay. Anything else?
For sure.
Valley River Foundation?
I think everything's going pretty good. We've lost a few members out of there, our residents, and still trying to replace them. We have a couple more that are coming to look here in the next day or so. And we also talked about looking at a nurse practitioner and locating her out of the lodge. We've asked Robin to look after that, so hopefully she doesn't get overwhelmed with all this other stuff she's doing. No, everything's going good.
Okay, landfill?
Business as usual. I guess the biggest takeaway from our meeting is May 6th is going to be the hazardous cleanup, if we can get that out there. And we had a Lantar come and give a presentation on, I can't really speak much to it because I unfortunately came a little bit late. Bob could speak to it, but
Yeah.
other than that, things are going well and business as usual.
Okay, yeah, we did Lantar. They came out because we're doing our monitoring. We're trying to get our license extended for beyond 10,000 tons. That's what we're licensed for. Actually, we just got an email the other day we turned down, so I have to start the reapplication process again. We have a lease with Crown. Part of the land that we're on out there is owned by Crown, and the lease expired, but we got a new one signed, and it's good to 2048. So it's for a while. What else? We're looking at putting up a new wind fence along the road. They'll have that discussion on the next meeting. We're looking at moving. We've got a big dirt pile we're going to move, so we're looking at some local contractors to do that. And there's some railway cars they're trying to get moved, and the fire department is looking at one, the tanker. That's an oil tanker one. We're looking to get hauled out to the area. Yeah, other than that, I think that's everything moving right along. Any other questions? Okay, Health Foundation, Bill?
Well, I jotted a bit of stuff down here. The CT scanner is running, and everybody knows that. The ribbon cutting ceremony is on March 9th, sorry. And it is as well open to the public to attend that ribbon cutting ceremony, and that'll be at the Communiplex or downtown, and then we're going to shuttle people to the hospital to actually have a look at the scanner itself, if they so desire. Our Under the Sea Gala is sold out. We did even before we started advertising, there were just people phoning, and so it's totally sold out. And raising money for these long-term care beds, and actually we've had a lot of people. It's been unbelievable. I think we're up to 11 or 13 beds now that we've sold to individuals. So we're on the right track. We were going to try to get 50, but we're definitely probably going to get 25 or more. So it's going to be great. We had our assessment of the Wainwright Health Center review and completed, and we sat around and discussed where to go from here. I think Bob was at the meeting too. It's a hard, they're going to assess 30 hospitals in the area from the sound of it, and then rate them 1, 2, 3 for replacement. And basically, I guess what I got out of the meeting, our hospital's in a pretty good shape, but there's 3 or 4 items that need to be fixed up, and they're going to work with the foundation apparently to go over some of these projects that they want done. So that's about all I have.
Okay, just on the just talking about the assessment. There's 31 they have to do, and we were the first one. So it's going to take them a year to get them all done. So then they'll go back to the drawing board. But yeah, I said the hospital's in pretty good shape, and there is the odd leak. But they can't have anything.
No.
I'm just going to
Stop looking at me.
We're looking at you for comment.
Stop looking.
But no, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's a process we go through. We were the first one, so the time and it gets, and they're still refining the process, so we don't know at the end of 31 we're going to be redoing ours again, or we're just going to be thrown into the pot. I'm not sure. But
The thing that I was really, really disappointed in, after doing this survey, we had a page-and-a-half review that absolutely told us nothing about the hospital, just the overall assessment. And I mean, after getting that assessment done in December till now, I thought there would have been an extensive review of, you know, replacing electrical issues or water or whatever, but it was a pretty vague overview of the hospital. So.
And we asked to see the report.
Yeah.
The assessed report.
Yeah.
Too many numbers for us to figure out. That's what we were told.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we're not qualified there yet.
Okay, sorry I jumped over 911, unless there's anything else.
Oh, 911, they have decided to get which generator they're getting, but we have a meeting coming up on the 24th, so
Okay. Northern Lights, well, how about that? We're gonna have a report here in a few minutes.
Bang on.
Wainwright Economic Development Board? Bruce?
no meeting, it's the same day, like 3rd or 4th.
Okay, motion to approve the reports?
Yeah.
Okay, Oscar? Any further discussion? All in favor? That's good. Alrighty, well, we got 2 minutes now until we're ready to go with our presentation. She's on? Yep. Who is the chair? Who's your chair? Okay. Okay. Good morning on TV land. Can she hear us?
You can hear us. It's like, whether she can speak or not.
Are you muted or are you good?
There you go. Wonderful.
Okay, well, good morning all. We'll turn it over to James, and you can start the presentation, and we'll take it from there.
Still see? We can't hear her yet.
Great. Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to council, give you an update about where we are. Last time I was here, there was plexiglass between you all, and I walked in, I thought this was a different room. And the last time I gave Oscar our service catalog, Councillor Rick, right? Buck, sorry. So maybe I'll give him this new one. It's a bit of a report as well. He can share it with the rest of you. So this gives you kind of a better detail of what Northern Lights does for you, does for the libraries in your community. We could talk all day about that. We won't. But if you're looking for good reading that'll get you to sleep at night, this one for you, Councillor. So. Northern Lights, what I'll focus on, I have this value statement here that we focus this year on circulation numbers. You know, what are we circulating in terms of books and ebooks and e-audio books. It doesn't get into all the various other electronic resources that we do or the internet service that we provide or anything like that. So the numbers here, when we give you a value of, for example, for every $1 you're investing in Northern Lights, it says you get a $212 return. For every $212 value back. That is, again, just the circulation value, not all the other stuff that is contained in here. So it kind of undersells us a bit, but I think the numbers are high enough that it still looks pretty good. It gives you good representation. Your community, and these numbers are the hard ones from 2021. The 2022 numbers we're still crunching, and they're essentially around the same. They haven't really changed much. Circulated 7,500 electronic books, 4,000 electronic audiobooks, and this is really quite something, 66,000 physical items to the county MD residents. You are a net borrower, which means you borrow more from the system than you lend to the system, which is totally fine. That's what it's there for. But it's a good indication that your residents are making good effect of that. We have 57 municipalities now, one First Nation, Frog Lake, and one Métis settlement that have joined Northern Lights. We are growing. Glendon just joined us last year. I'm hopeful that we'll have the final kind of community in the region join us this year as well. It looks really positive that way. So we are growing. We are, and for each member that comes in, the system just gets better and better. Those 57 municipalities your folks can draw on, but it's not just those. You're also drawing on the TRAC membership. So if you're a library user, you know about TRAC. TRAC is the shared consortium of 4 regional library systems, all sharing the same software, all sharing materials with one another. It represents almost 200 libraries. It's pretty impressive. Gives access to 3.6 million titles to your residents as well when they're searching online. And we threw in here, besides the circulation, we threw in here, just give you a taste of the fact that we are a professional organization in terms of consulting. We hire professional librarians that your library managers in smaller communities here can rely upon. They can draw on their expertise. So if they're looking for policy development, collection development questions, they need help with the internet services, they need help with the computer software, whatever it may be, they can reach out to our people. Your library managers contacted Northern Lights nearly 200 times last year, and so when you think about that, and some of those are quick, call, takes 10 minutes, we answer a question. A lot of those take days, doing some research, helping them out with their summer reading programs or whatever it may be. So we give a value to that, but I think it's a bit of an undersell. They would likely need more staffing, quite a bit more staffing in order to meet those demands. The other thing that we do, when you're circulating those books, how do you do that? You can't just put those books, buy a book, put it on the shelf. You have to process it, you have to catalog it, you have to get it into the system, you have to have stickers and things on it. We do that on behalf of your libraries. Your libraries save more than $12,000 ordering their materials through Northern Lights because we spend about $400,000 a year on physical library collections. When you spend that kind of money, you get some pretty great discounts. These are real numbers. We do record the retail value of the books when we catalog them, and we know exactly what we spent on them, so we can understand exactly what kind of discounts we're getting from our various vendors. We really appreciate your cooperation in this big multi-municipal endeavor, really. I don't know too many other things like this where you have so many municipalities, working together on something. You are part of something big. Libraries are pretty critical quality of life infrastructure. Northern Lights Library System circulated more than 830,000 physical items to the residents of Northeast Alberta last year. There are only 175,000 people living in the area. We also circulated 122,000 electronic and books and audio books. If you were to just buy that, you were to say, you know what, just buy whatever people need. It cost you $29 million. We do it for a lot less than that. So it's a pretty great cooperation. Your levy payment to Northern Lights is based on the population, the 2016 population, or it was. As of March 1st, the province has come forward with some money, and they've made some changes. They're moving from their 2016 municipal population list to 2019 population list. They also increased the library's funding by about 5%. Each of your libraries will get a base grant of $9,000 plus $560 per resident grant. So that is a nice increase. We've been advocating for a while. The province has not increased library funding since 2015, so it's been a while coming, and there's been a lot of advocacy work to try and get them to come to the table. So we're grateful for that. But with that population change, you will move from the last couple of years, using 2016 numbers, you've benefited in terms of your levy payment to Northern Lights, because your population at 2016 was 4,138. When they move to 2019 numbers, it'll be 4,479, which is within 12 people. If you went to the 2021 numbers, it's about the exact same. So you have benefited. You paid a little less over the last few years. Glad that the province has moved this direction and increased funding, but just keep that in mind when you're doing your budgets. We did move up the levy as well this last year from $5.23. You guys actually pay both the board and because you don't have a library board and the municipal payment, so it'll actually be $10.62. That was our first increase in 3 years. When you do out the math, even with this provincial increase in funding, we're looking at well under 2% just this year from that levy increase, and the years previous 0%. So the library is not remotely keeping up with inflation, but the board has gotten very creative around stretching our dollar as far as we can to provide the same quality of services. So we have had to get creative. A couple ways we've done that. One, the building in Elk Point that we got for $1 back in 2000. It's a nice big building. It does take money to upkeep that. But we've moved our professional staff to working remotely. It gets them out closer to their libraries. We found that very effective, but it's left some empty space. So we've turned around and leased 5 of our offices to an accounting firm in Elk Point, which has helped keep them in the community and increase some revenue on Northern Lights side. We moved to a couple new vans that are bigger, and so instead of 3 vans on the road, we have 2 vans on the road making the same number of stops, but that's allowed us to reduce some staffing, reduce some bills that way. And we've gone through a complete organizational review in the last couple of years to shore up, figure out exactly the staffing and make sure that we are spending the money as well as we can. So the board has been pretty creative and very supportive, and I appreciate them for doing that. Vicki, did you want to bring greetings from the board, and then we can open for questions?
Sure. I'll be brief because I know they're busy and lots of times your council meetings go long. You have heavy agendas. So first off, like James said, thank you very much for having us. We certainly appreciate it. We appreciate your support over the years. And also, I'm sure you're aware, Jody sits on our executive council as the library manager chair. So she reports to us as to how all the managers are feeling, how we do our jobs and what they'd like to see different, etc. So we appreciate that as well. If you have any questions, we're open to it. Like I said, we want to thank you for your support over the past several years, and we appreciate your help that you provide us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well, thanks, Vicki. Thanks, James, for your presentation. It was timely, and appreciate you coming down. I'll open up the questions. Anybody have any questions or concerns or comments? Billy.
Okay, I'll start off here, James. I'll just let you know that I appreciate what you do and for the library system, and so I was wondering. I guess I have a question: is where do you see your Northern Lights library system going in the future? I mean, everybody, things are changing rapidly here in all aspects of gathering information. So, where do you think you're headed?
Yeah, I mean, I think the library gets stronger and stronger in terms of its need of use. When we look at models in terms of economics, library usage, as the economy falls, library usage usually goes up dramatically, and that's when people are often looking at cutting library services as well because the economy is doing that. I think you're going to continue to see growth in terms of its usage. People have asked me this question in terms of, our library's dead, we can get stuff online, do we really need this? Well, I would say, 830,000 books being circulated in comparison to the 1/8 of that in the electronic side tells you that people are still need libraries for its staple purpose, which is the delivery of books and materials like that. But libraries are much more than books. The libraries help economically. They're a place for meetings. They're a place to connect to the internet. They're a place to, they're one of the last spaces in your community people can go, all of your residents can go without an expectation of spending money. So it's a social space. So what I see happening ultimately in the next 5 to 10 years, I hope we'll bring in all of the indigenous communities in the area, that they will all become members. We have about 11 here, and that libraries will start to be established in those communities. I see, I think within the next year or so, we'll fill out from all our other municipalities. We'll fill out, and I think over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see more and more reliance upon libraries. I wish
So
I
have
could.
you kept up with times is all I mean?
Yeah, I think we have, and the programming is there. I would like to see, better facilities in many of our communities for libraries. I think, like I say, one of the biggest things about a library is its social space in your community. I wish I could take counselors in all of these communities and transport you out to the libraries that you're cooperating to serve. You would be impressed. You walk in and some of these places are humming with people. Newbrook is a really great example. This is a community of 90 people. They have a wonderful library manager there who has rallied money together and built themselves a $700,000 library. If you walk in that building, the whole community is there constantly. They have a full kitchen. They run a lunch out of there. If you're in Lac La Biche, stop by the Bold Center, one of the most beautiful libraries in the area. Also humming. They even have things like Library of Things solution, where you can go in and not just borrow a book, but you can borrow a saw, or you can borrow a musical instrument. They're also connected directly with the high school there in the Bold Center. Some communities have really caught the vision of what a library in the future can be. Northern Lights is there to support. All of our libraries are autonomous. They make their own decisions. We're there as their kind of backbone. And I think, as you travel the area, stop in at some of these libraries. There'll be some that are kind of holes in the wall and barely, struggling, but I think that's a reflection, of where there's no vision, the people perish, right? So, in some of these communities, they're going gangbusters. Their libraries are the community hub.
So why have they got a vision and some don't? I'm not following you.
Well, some people have vision and some don't. Northern Lights is there to help them gain that vision. So you guys are doing great. I love the Wainwright Library here. Have you been into your library?
I'm actually from Irma, you know.
Oh, you are from Irma, and it's wonderful there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know the Phyllis Craig Legacy
Yes,
Library?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, you're doing really, really well. So I think the future of Northern Lights is really bright. We need to figure out money-wise how we keep paying for services in the face of inflation, but I think the board has been very creative.
I'd agree with that, and if I could speak to the Wainwright Library, like I sit on that board as well, and Jody is a beautiful asset to have that she sits on that manager's board. During COVID, it was evident that people were asking the girls to bring books to the door, and they did that for them and provided that service. When Manpower shut their building, our library became a facility that the aged people needed, because you can only fax your claims in to Alberta Health through fax, So our library was providing that service, and then at that time decided to do it without a fee attached to try help out. So to see it, and I think I do challenge you to go sit in, the library is packed. There's people, Jody and the ladies there, or gentlemen as well, proctor exams for colleges and universities. It opened my eyes, I think, because I hadn't frequented it in a long time. So they are very, very busy. I was shocked. So I appreciate what they do here for sure.
Okay, anybody else have any other comments, concerns? Well, on behalf of the MD, I'd like to thank you two both for joining in, James for coming down. Yeah, we do have some very good libraries in our community. I'm from Irma area too, so I'm quite familiar with ours, so. And I think all councilors are familiar with the libraries in the areas, so. But you guys do a good job, and I know there's a lot of books moving around. My wife, she uses the system quite a bit, so we'd like to thank you. And
welcome.
good
Well-
luck in your vision in the future.
Yeah, well, and I guess, Counselor Lawson, you beat out Counselor Buck this time around. And maybe the service catalog.
Thank you very much.
Goes to you.
I'm sure we're gonna get into a big argument about this after. Oh, he's coming to get him.
I don't think that's a good
Oh, I was expecting Counselor Buck to give you a couple good hard questions, but.
Ours is a little different because we are under school.
You two
Okay,
could-
goodbye,
you
everyone. Thank you
conspired.
again.
Thanks, Vicki.
Yes, thank you.
You two conspired before the meeting.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thanks,
It
James.
was
Yeah, have a great
appreciated,
day.
guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks.
Safe travels.
No, he got his ass ripped, that's why.
Here it comes. Are we off? No.
Well, we got 45 minutes for the next presenter.
We got time for a smoke then.
You've definitely got time for a smoke.
spotlight's on here right away.
Yeah, I never did get anything.
I've done one speaking engagement in my life, and that was 2 weeks ago, and now I'm here.
I
so-
watched you.
Yeah.
Or is it an email or a?
Yeah. Okay, welcome everyone. I think we're back on recording your live streaming again. So we had a couple gentlemen that wanted to come talk to us. If you guys want to just introduce yourselves and go around the table and introduce you to council and staff, and then we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, you betcha. My name is Matthew Powell. I'm a local resident here, and I just have some concerns about the upcoming bylaw situation.
Okay, go ahead, Bruce.
Bruce Collins, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Richard Woodall. Austin.
Kim Christensen, Development Officer.
I'm Bob Barson.
Mike Littlemore.
Robin Layton.
And Bill Lawson.
And we have Tyson Boomhauer and Zach from the paper, and Stephen's our technician. So, turn it over to you, Matt, and have a go at it.
Okay. As you all know, there's a lot of concerns from a lot of the residents, or ratepayers, as they're referred to a lot of the time in these books. I want to start with something that's just kind of popped out at me. One of the first things here is about Clear Lake. I'm just going to read this right out of the book, so you guys are clear on what I'm trying to say here, and then I'm going to ask you guys if someone could clarify this. The land around Clear Lake developed several years before planning and development controls were applied to the municipal district. Some 137 interests in land were established in the land around Clear Lake, and many of the people involved developed cabins. Some very substantial, on lands in which they had an interest. Many of the cabins were developed very close to each other and the lake, with mutual driveways cut into the sandy landscape. Subsequently, the municipal district and the provincial government allowed for the subdivision of almost all the lands around Clear Lake into 20 lots, with extensive areas of municipal reserve. Sorry, I didn't bring my glasses. To preclude for any further intensification of development around the lake. Some of those lots, 7, were established to incorporate a single interest and now have one single owner. The rest of the lots were established to incorporate between 2 and 21 interests, with the owners being associations, societies, or limited corporations. The associations, societies, or corporations hold the actual titles to these lots, with the individual who held interest in the land holdings, memberships in the associations or societies, or shares in the corporations. Thus, most of the individuals who own cabins on Clear Lake do not actually own the land on which the cabins are located. This has created financial and inheritance concerns. Several of the individuals involved have approached the municipal district asking the municipality to approve of the subdivision of the 14 associations, societies, or corporation-owned lots into individual parcels and land, 137, including the 7 existing single lots. To me, that says right there that somehow, because it's now one single owner, who's that one corporation, and how did they get the ability to have all this land revert back to them? That's my question for this.
Okay. Kim, I can give you some back. You go ahead, Kim.
So I think what that policy is explaining is just the history of Clear Lake and how it came about, and how we came to the number of 137 lots, and why we're not supporting subdivisions on the lakefront any longer. So that's how it all came about, was that it was corporations and it was societies. I don't know if they're called corporations, but they were groups of land ownership where everybody was on title. And so when they subdivided, then they got their separate titles. So there is no more group ownership around the lake. So everything is individually titled.
Okay, so does those people that don't own their lots, do they know that they don't own those lots?
Everybody owns their lots.
Well, it says right here, sorry not to cut you off, but most of the individuals who own cabins on Clear Lake do not actually own the land on which the cabins are located.
So that means that it reverts back to those original corporations, which have now been purchased by one. And as far as I'm concerned, that's where I'm going to leave that kind of thing. I only have 15 minutes to address this.
But I'll give you just a couple of minutes on that. That's the way it was, as Kim said, that's the history. Back about 15 years ago, don't quote the time, the group came to the MD and they wanted to build newer houses on the land, but they didn't own it, right? It was owned by association. So they made an agreement, every association made an agreement that they would allow subdivision to take place. That was, so they did that on their own. So they all associations agreed that the land would become titled. So the land is titled. Everyone out there that owns a lot owns a title. It cannot be reverted back to anything else. It's their titled property. And like the preamble that you spoke about is the history of how it started. That is not current today. It's all titled property to the landowner.
Okay, it just says here that there has been financial inheritance concerns. So
Well,
has there been issues
absolutely,
amongst the
as in the
landowners?
history.
Has there been issues, though, with the landowners
Well,
in the past where inheritance was?
When it was group ownership.
But the inheritance issue was they weren't going to build a house on on land they didn't own. So they couldn't will that home to their whoever they wanted to, because they didn't own it. They owned the wood, they owned the infrastructure, but they didn't own the land it was on. That's the way associations work. So that is just history of why it took place, but it's all titled land. So everybody owns their own property. They can do what they want with it, same as anybody else can.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, well, that kind of hits that on the head then, I guess. Now I'd like to talk about the bylaws themselves. A lot of you in here are farmers, and you guys have grown up in this area, and I've grown up with some of your kids and some of you actually working in here. I'm just trying to think, before you sat on this council, if a council were to approach any one of you and tell you they're going to take more control of your land, and maybe, you know, they're going to tell you how things are going to be on your own property. They'll be able to take the land from you for a price. They'll pay you for it happily, but you don't have any say in what they do with it after the fact. And this is actually out of the MGA as well. That's some of the capabilities that there are in here for this municipal land use bylaw. And one of my major problems is that in the initial, I'm going to assume that this has been reprinted at least once. The initial one was upon third reading, the development authority will be created, and upon third reading, the bylaw authority will be created. Now, my main concern with that is, why are we creating new authorities? I know that we've already given our subdivision authority, due to not having a planner on site, to municipal planning services. My main concern here is that I'm hoping you guys are all understanding how much this authority means to you guys as council. I mean, you're elected to stand up for us and understand that. So the way the authority works is, now there's going to be a commission. So when you guys are running, you guys have to have you guys get the authority when you're elected from the people. So you guys become the commission, right? You guys become the council and the people who stand up for them. And I want to be clear, you guys, this whole thing with the subdivision, I'm hoping we can get it back. I hope we can get a planner on site. I'm hoping we can, as a municipality, go back to planning our own stuff, because if we lose that authority, we're not going to be able to stop what happens around here. And none of you as council will have a say in that. So I just want that to be known by you guys, regardless of how this is worded, or if this is changed, or if we have changed our minds on how this is printed, which would be fantastic if we did. I would love to see the authority stay here, because if we lose that authority, there's no getting it back, you know, and if there is, it's going to be a fight. And if you guys didn't know about any of this, I'm concerned that municipal planning services might be trying to pull a quick one on us here and just kind of have this stuff passed. Kind of, it's outlandish, right? Corruption doesn't happen within a government at all. regardless of that, I'm not saying that's what's happening here. What I'm saying is we have to maintain our authority, because once that's gone, it's gone. And just reading this and knowing that this is a cookie cutter and that Municipal Planning Services has these out in every other one of their jurisdictions, municipalities that they have control of, right? So they're not just hired by us, they're hired by other municipalities. And this is the same stuff that they're rolling out. And as you know, there's a lot of issues around Alberta right now with bylaws. Municipal Planning Services customers, basically, are the ones that are having a problem with this. So with that being said, we need to take a good look at these, because this is corporate. This is for corporate profit, basically. I mean, the permitting is about money. That's all it's about. There's no reason I should have to call you guys to get approval for a permit and pay you guys $100 or whatever the fee is going to be for that permit to build a shed on my property because it doesn't meet the actual requirements of what you guys will then hold at your own discretion as the right size of a building. You know, you guys can come out to a property while they are in construction and you can say, you didn't get a permit for that. Well, it's not a permitted item, but the measurements are too big. That's at our discretion as the enforcement. We decide on what you can and cannot do. So we basically, for anything we do, we have to call and get somebody out there. And you know who's going to be coming out there, according to this and the MGA? It's going to be you guys, the council. You guys will then take over the permitting. You guys will come out and see us. You guys will be the ones that have the ability to say yes or no to the people that elected you. So giving our elected officials the power to enforce laws just seems wrong to me. You guys were elected to protect us. You guys were elected to stand up for us and support us and represent us. But I'm hoping to God we can salvage this, because this right here, this is, I'm just going to say it out loud, it's junk. I mean, everything in here is going to be found in other municipalities. There's nothing in here that has been created by any of us, really, that meets the demand of the bylaws we should be creating. So,
I got a quick question. I hate to interrupt because I know
No, that's fine.
you only have so much time. In your opinion, what is the Development Authority? Who is it?
The Development Authority is Youth Council. But as soon as we create a new authority, then who's the...
So who's the new authority?
That's a good question.
There is no new authority.
Well, that's what I'm hoping.
There is none. And first of all, your comment about this draft has been rewritten. It hasn't been. And I explained that to you once in a text. And there is errors in it. We know that there's some mistakes.
There's a lot of errors in here.
And we have said that, and I explained to you that we would not change a draft. A draft is a draft, right? The next draft, which will take place in the first week of April when we review the surveys, then there will be a draft number 2. And it will have in the corrections, and it will have the information that we glean back from the surveys. It will have comments that you have made to your counselor or to our development officer. This is how we gather information. So everybody that wants to be involved in this can be involved. I mean, you talk to your counselor, you talk to Kim, and give your input. You do it through the surveys, you come to the open houses, and so everybody is entitled to give information. And until we have our second reading, or our public hearing, that is when the final information is taken. So until then, even after first reading, you can still take information until we have this. So the draft has not been changed. There's been no wording changes, and we've made sure that, because we want to make sure that things aren't changed until we do the next one. And as far as there is nothing in there to say that we are creating another authority. The authority, there's 2 authorities. There is the Development Authority, who's made up of council, and the development officer. And we do the planning, we do everything with the MD, and we make the bylaws. Like, our bylaws are written by the MD. They're a revision of bylaws that have been in place for many, many years. And as times change, we change our bylaws to make them current. That's been going on forever. And the So
Okay,
this
so,
is just
I'm
a
sorry,
re-
I only got so much time, and I
Yeah, I
understand
know, but
exactly what you're
we'll
saying
give
there.
you-
But my
we'll give
question
you a
is
little
then, is
extra.
how did we go from the Municipal Planning Commission and a Development Authority, and in the original, there was a bylaw authority as well. So that's just completely erased out of here, so that we don't actually have to explain the bylaw authority. Again,
The authority of bylaws cannot be designated to anyone else but council.
okay.
That's
but
stated in the
It also
MGA.
stated, though, in here that there was a creation upon third reading
That,
of a bylaw
that
authority.
means the bylaw is renewed, so it's created. That's wording. We've had bylaws, so this authority's been in shape since, we've had this process since 1995.
Okay.
So this is not new. It's been revisited, well, about every 10 years
Okay.
since 1995.
One more question then.
Yep.
You guys are saying that, I've been told by several of you, not several of you, sorry, a couple of you, that these bylaws that we're altering in here are archaic. They've been referred to as archaic. And that these are old laws that need to be updated, correct? Because the same bylaws in here are the same bylaws we put in 15 years ago with the same three signatures stating that that was the bylaws rolled out, but all we've added now is the authorities and, well,
No, like, some of it has been...
and sorry, permitting, I want to put
Yeah.
that out there too.
Yeah,
Permitting
but
was added to this and so was
some of it
bylaws,
hasn't changed
or
since
authorities.
95. Some of it has. As time changed, there's been some changes to bring them up to the current legislation.
Well,
And
I've-
that's just...
I've read the old-
I mean, I think you understand that the MGA is our act, and we, whether we agree with it or not, we operate within the boundaries of it. That's just the way it is. We have
Absolutely, I've
no
read the
say
MGA, yeah.
into changing it. I mean, it's just been renewed. So whatever it says in the act when it comes to planning and...
You guys should really look at the
Well,
authority and the planning
but
within the MGA
if that
because
is, I mean, that's
it's really
outside
been
of our
stepped up.
bylaws.
It's not outside your bylaws.
It
That's
is.
the level for your bylaws.
It is, but we operate under those guidelines. If you want those changed, you have to talk to the MLA.
I don't want those changed. I would like to make sure that
And we
these are
operate
dealt
within
with.
those.
Now, one thing that many people and I have agreed on is something that we would actually like to see is the removal of municipal planning services, seeing as there's so many issues around Alberta right now with their authorities, with their bylaws and their policy that they have created within here. Lots of people would like to see them removed completely from our contracts and from our authority, which they do hold right now as the subdivision authority. We don't think that their interests are in our best interests. So as the council, I really hope you guys look into this because I'm running out of time here. And I can't hammer home hard enough this authority, you guys. This is ours. This isn't, in all reality, you guys were elected by people to tell you that they appreciate you, and we really do. We know you guys do a lot here, and we really do appreciate that. And we haven't been anything but less than, reputable when dealing with you guys. We've all been polite and kind, I think. But this authority, honestly, it's going to be addressed again because this has been changed. I'm fairly certain of it. And I just want you guys to know as council, we need your guys' help here so that we can salvage this. And we got to go back to creating bylaws by us, for us. Not bylaws in here that enforce things upon the people of the municipality. Because that's what this is. This is enforcement of permitting, enforcement of bylaws that are, created against the people in the
Matt,
municipality rather than
I think
supporting.
we're creating them for you. I mean, just by the way you talk, you sound like you don't need a permit for anything. You can construct a piece of anything out on your property.
Okay.
And then you build your garage out there in front of your house and the person behind you, if it's in a multi-lot subdivision, can't see out. Do you think you have the right to just build whatever you want on that
absolutely
property?
not, but I mean.
Well, that's what
anything-
you're saying.
Well, that's
what
not
I
what
get
I'm
out.
saying. What I'm saying is under the permitting, I mean, even the things that are non-permittable says right underneath that these could be restricted or implemented under permitting.
Yeah, bring it into the mic, Morley, so we can hear you.
No, you
Oh, you do? Okay.
turn them up a
It's
bit.
just hard to hear you, Morley, that's why if you could speak up a bit or.
No, just
No,
speak
it's
up.
all
We can
right.
turn the volume up.
So, I think what Matt is concerned about is a authority coming from other than all of us here. And I think all the rules that get put in place are put in place for everybody here by us. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
The municipal planning services isn't gonna drive the bus around here.
No, they are not.
We're gonna do it.
Yes.
And if we have an issue, we come and see you guys and present it, and you're gonna deal with it with us as your best interest. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Okay, so, Matty, I don't think they're gonna have somebody coming from Camrose as a hired enforcement officer coming to say your building isn't right, and at his discretion, you're gonna get a fine. If you don't pay, you're gonna go to jail. That's not gonna happen, right? Okay, so I wanna be,
Yeah, I mean, we are looking at, and to be transparent, we're looking at, and we're not looking, we're having preliminary discussions on what enforcement means. We haven't had that yet, so I'm not gonna disclude anything, Morley. I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the
you sat
final-
around the table, you know how the process
the
works, right?
final program is gonna be with us, and that includes
Yeah.
you and me and
But
everybody
you
here.
but
Right?
one thing you need to understand about the subdivision authority, regardless of the company, no matter who it is in any municipality, I don't care who they hire, we as a development authority cannot approve our own,
Approvals. You get, what is the municipal planning service do?
I say, what
then?
we do is we get, for a subdivision, we take the information, we make recommendations, and we put our conditions in, and then they go to the subdivision authority as a recommendation.
So is that municipal planning service the private company? I took
Yes,
for
yes,
granted that
they're private
MPS
com-
was part of
yeah.
the provincial government.
No.
Yeah, I had no idea.
No, they're a private company out of Edmonton.
And
They started in
so they
1995.
just make recommendations?
No, we make recommendations to them.
And then they make recommendations
And-
to you
and what they do-
on your recommendations?
Yeah, well, what they do, there's an oversight, and we don't, so they take a look at our subdivision, that we've, with our conditions, everything else.
Proposed.
They look at it, and they compare what we've done, and they compare it to our bylaw. And if we've done something that is outside of our bylaw, they bring it back in and put it inside, and they don't need to contact us. They can do that. That's their authority, to make sure it's legal. But they as a subdivision authority, they can do nothing outside our bylaw either. Nobody can do anything outside the bylaw. So if we do something and we're inside the bylaw, we send it to them for approval, because we can't approve our own
So they're
recommendations.
just double checking what
Absolutely, they're an
we're putting
they're an
forth?
oversight, and every municipality has to have this. You cannot rubber
Under the
stamp.
under the Municipal
MGA,
Government Act.
You cannot rubber stamp
Yeah.
your own rule.
Okay,
So we send it to them, and it could be anybody.
Mhm.
It could be any company that the municipality chooses to hire. They look at it, they say, okay, this is all in line, and they've done everything, so they make an approval. But if I find something that's not correct, they don't have to come back to us. They have the authority. That's where I think they're hung up on the authority and what the rules they have. They have the authority to make that change, to bring you back in compliance.
That's gonna be something that's put in place, it's gonna have to be agreed on no matter who it is.
Yeah, but it's
If
agreed
it's
on
put
by the
in
bylaw.
place,
Yeah.
It's put in
But
place.
it's agreed on by the bylaw.
Yeah.
The bylaw is the rule that
That
the
has been
development
put
authority
down
has
by
to.
everybody here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
okay.
bylaw is the rule that the
Yeah.
development authority abides and the subdivision authority abides. There is that one document, and nobody can go outside that. But that's their job, and they approve it, it comes back, it goes into the system.
Well, some of the wording can be misinterpreted differently.
Absolutely.
And that's
I mean,
why
this
we're
is-
here, and I came
Yeah.
to support
Yeah.
Matt.
But
and,
this is a big document, guys. I mean, we
Sure it is.
and we deal with this not every day. Kim deals with it every day, but you know, when we make changes, it's a big read. I don't, for us just to go through it, we don't read that document every day.
I read it 3 times.
Have you? Good for you.
You believe that, I'll tell you more.
So anyways, we've run a bit over time, but we do hear your concerns, Matt.
I hope so.
And I mean, we're revisiting the draft. There'll be another, once we get through it, there'll be another draft out. We'll let everybody know it's available.
Yeah.
We want to get it out in front of everybody.
We'll all be on the same
before-
page when
It'll
we're
be on
done.
either at the office or on the webpage, because we're having a meeting on the 26th of April. So we want to get it out as quick as we can so you can review it. If there will be some changes made, we already know that. and you guys take a look at it, and you know, we'll go from there after the 26th, and then we'll determine next steps.
Yeah.
And I can't lay them out because I don't know what they are yet.
Yeah, and I phoned Kim, I think, about the extension for the deadline, because it was
Yeah.
a little too soon.
Well, the reason, it was 5 weeks, and the reason we didn't extend it because there's a timeline to get to that April meeting, so we had to get the information in, we had to cut it off, get those comments in front of the MPC, and then move forward.
Well, I
there's a
guess in the
time
long
frame.
run, if there's stuff that needs to be addressed, it will be addressed.
Yeah, like, I mean.
And it doesn't mean that people can't still submit their
Yeah,
concerns
I
and
got you.
opinions.
Yeah, and there is not a deadline for first reading. I mean, we want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure the public has opportunity to give input, because that's what
That's
the
what it's
open
all
houses
about.
and the information session, or coming here, or phoning Kim, or talking to your counselors, that's about. We're all gathering information, and we're submitting it to make sure that, and I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, everybody might not be 100% happy with it,
Yeah.
but we're doing the very best we can so that the majority of the people have some rules and guidelines that they can live in harmony with.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, I don't think you guys have ever done anything wrong.
Okay, well, thank you.
Should I be closer to the mic?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming in, gentlemen.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
great day.
And thank you, guys.
We really appreciate it.
Likewise. Thanks a lot.
Okay, one final motion.
So moved.
Oh, motion to adjourn.